On today's Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast, who is today's trade target? We're halfway through the series. And what about Team USA? What are their chances at the Four Nations Cup? We're going to talk about it on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño. I am a veteran NHL voice, and talking a little bit of Utah Hockey Club never hurts my feelings. And I know longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño has been talking about this team since they were the dogs of the desert in the state of Arizona. So we've got quite a bit of ground covered between the two of us on this. I actually used to work for this organization as well. So that was back in the day, which, as Dane Cook will tell you, was a Wednesday. We're going to look at today's trade target. We are halfway through. So what we're doing during the Four Nations, if you're just catching this concept for the first time, maybe you've been away for a couple of shows, welcome back. And if you have been here the whole time, thanks for making us your first listen every single day when it comes to the Utah Hockey Club. We appreciate that very much. Throw us a subscribe if you haven't already. Give us the old thumbs up on the YouTube side. Helps the algorithm, helps both of us find awesome content and each other. So we're halfway through. We are doing 5 trade targets on the Utah Hockey Club roster. Then we're going to do 5 trade targets off the Utah Hockey Club roster. Also, if you're watching this on a Thursday or listening on a Thursday, tonight is really the matchup in the Four Nations that I think has the most interest for Utah Hockey Club fans. You're either pulling for Finland because there's a pair of defensemen from Utah on the roster in Mata and Välimäki, or you're pulling for Team USA, which is, a powerhouse in its own right. So Robyn, I do want to talk about, because we did this on the last show, and I think it's only fair to go back and look at some of the comments we got with Vejmelka coming up as our guy yesterday from the show. And so the first two have been Lawson Krause and Karel Vejmelka. You and I both agreed that Veggie would end up on here. And I actually had a fan or two venture to say that they thought maybe Connor Ingram should be the goalie on there. And while I'm not saying that you can't move Ingram, he has one more year after this on his contract. So he's not an ironclad commitment to anyone that picks him up. Mm-hmm. But right now he's out injured, upper body injury. They're expecting him back, hopefully by the time we come back and play the Kings after Four Nations is over. But I think the reason, at least for me, I put Veggie on there over Connor Ingram is just because of the whole status. Again, you don't want to lose a guy for absolutely nothing. And if you are going to commit to him as the 1A and he signs, and then you figure, I don't know, let's say Jackson Stauber's your backup. Okay, then that makes sense. But none of that has happened yet. None of that is in the works. Well, it may be in the works, but none of that has happened. So I have a hard time putting Ingram on the list ahead of Vejmelka just because of the situation.
100%. And I mean, you said it. That's the best. One of the best things to describe it as. You don't want to lose a player for nothing. That's one. 2, it's the value. I think there's a little bit more value based off performance, just at least this season alone. That would give a better. Slightly, would it make that much of a difference? Not all that much, but a slightly better return for someone like Vejmelka, especially who a little bit more younger. It doesn't really matter by couple years, but sometimes to some teams it does. That's 2. And really, it's just and you mentioned it, Jackson Stauber. It's like, all right, Utah's going to have another goalie come in. Stauber has been great, as backed up pretty well for Veggie, while Ingram is out at, with his, I think that was during his, quote, bereavement leave. But it shows, okay, don't need all 3, but who's going to be the odd man out? It just happened to be Veggie, just for the sake of situationship.
I've never heard of a goaltending situationship. You caught me off guard with that one, Robyn. I don't know how to respond to that. Do I accept? Do I decline? Do I say I'm playing other goalies? Like, what do I do here? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. That's like the Lego Batman movie, which is one of my favorite movies. absolutely love Lego Batman, but where he's having the discussion with Joker about the whole "I'm your greatest enemy." He's like, "I am currently fighting other people." You know, it's like
Yep.
it's a situationship here, Joker. Okay, so now that you threw me with that. You don't often throw me, but you got me with that one. Hey, let me know in the comments, what do you think of a goaltending situationship? Because that's kind of what we're headed towards a little bit there. But no, seriously, at the end of the day, whether and here's the other thing with Ingram is emotionally, there's a lot of investment in the player. If you're able to detach from that, which I think you have to, and you're looking at the stats, Veg has been slightly better, but also look, I'm not going to hold anybody's bereavement leave against them. Please don't think that.
Of course. Yeah.
Durability could become a question mark. Whereas, I mean, Veg has kind of been a tank. You know what I mean? Like, he's been solid. He's just kept on plugging no matter what's been thrown at him. And I think that that's important for a goalie too.
It honestly, it really is, because yeah, we're now in the era of 1A, 1B goalies, and we don't have someone who's taking, 80 starts, in a season. We're just not seeing that. But some coaches, some GMs like to have the opportunity, like to have the option to be able to put a guy out for a little bit longer period of time. Maybe their starter, maybe that person who's getting a longer period of time is the 1B, but the 1A might be dealing with the flu or dealing with another injury. They just don't want to bring them back to their 100%. But they also don't want to, bring in the third string or whoever is, the starter up in the AHL. So it's like they just Iron Man whoever the 1B is. We see that happen a lot. And that puts out a huge amount of value to a lot of these GMs and coaches.
That said, to the point you made earlier about Stauber, I actually feel pretty good about. And now, look, limited sample size, but I feel good about what I've seen out of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think he's unready to be an NHL backup. I think he absolutely could.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd go as far as going into the 1B, like 1A, 1B situation with him yet, but does he deserve to at least get some NHL starts every now and then? Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Stauber's more than deserved it at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we have today's trade target, and again, this is trade target 3 out of 5. Robyn and I, we discussed this ahead of time, and we kind of put our heads together on this one. I got to tell you, I think this is a personal favorite of Robyn Leaño, and we're going to tell you who it is right now. And today's show is brought to you in part by Wonderful Pistachios. Hey, looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I love the no shells variety. I mean, it's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. I'm a heavy snacker at work. I really am. And the thing about being in an office where other people are heavy snackers, there's always a lot of candy, there's a lot of chips laying around. I don't want that. And especially because you roll through that and then you're hungry 5 minutes later. What good did the snack go you? So a quick protein boost, it's my go-to. And so if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, well, then the in-shell options are a classic favorite, and that's probably more up your alley. So I love the no shells, and it's grab and go ease. I just pop open the bag, grab a handful, boom, I'm done. I love it. Get snacking, get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. So, Robyn, we have arrived at, I don't really know that it's a moment of truth. Out of everybody the fans might nominate for this list, and believe me, I think every fan could put every player on the roster on there at some point or another, depending if they're mad at him. Mm-hmm. But this one seems like the most obvious, doesn't it?
It really does. I feel like this is a player who I feel like their name gets tossed around every single year.
Yes.
And it's not to say that it's like they just want to get rid of him, this player. It's because they provide so much value as a rental piece to players that they just go out.
And then come back because we are talking about Nick Bukestad. So
Boomerang Bukestad,
the guy we've nicknamed the Boomerang because he loves the organization, clearly, because he keeps coming back. But he is so valuable as a rental, even in his early 30s. Robyn, he personifies the kind of player teams making a run want 12 of. They want grit, they want heart, they want determination, they want fearlessness. Bukestad has all that. He's a veteran, so he's got experience. He's not going to lose his head in the clutch. He just works so hard. There's so little to critique about Bukestad. He will make another team better if he is traded to that team in a cup run. He will be that guy that will pop up, score a couple surprise goals for you, I think, provide some leadership and a calming influence to your younger players, and can be counted on to do whatever you ask him to do. If you want him to chew the bark off a tree, he will. You want him to go through a brick wall, he will. He is that guy.
We've said, it says a lot for a player to keep coming back to Utah. It says something about the organization, but it also says something about the player that so many Stanley Cup focused teams, these ones that are trying to make a push for the Stanley Cup, are trading for a player like Nick Bukestad. They want to go out and they want to get somebody who has the experience, who knows what it's like to try to play in the most difficult pro sports tournament there is, to go out and provide the highest level of hockey and just continually to do it day in and day out. Says so much, and also just in general continue to do it and have the right mindset going in. I feel like that's the thing. Rather than there were a lot of players out there who they're full of themselves, or they put their head in the bush whenever they have a bad game or whenever they get traded or whatever it is. And Bukestad's not that way. He never has been that way. You're muted.
Thanks. Just looking at his career stats, Robyn, taking a look at what it is about a player that you want. How about 742 regular season NHL games? 326 points. So about a half point a game guy, really, over the course of his career. I know that's slowing down a little bit now, but the experience of a player like Bukestad, 154 goals, some timely scoring in his day. And then if you look at his playoff stats, the last couple of playoff runs he's been on, especially the 22-23 Oilers, 3 goals in those 12 games and plus 16 penalty minutes, but averaging 13.34 of ice. And that is his role. Had a game winner, by the way, in there. But that is, I think, where he's going to be. And respectable in the faceoff circle if he needs to take those draws. But Florida, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and Edmonton have all had him on a playoff roster. And as we mentioned, he's a guy who seems to want to come back, love to come back. So I think that, a veteran like Bukestad makes sense for a lot of teams. And here's the other reason why he's so valuable. Teams that think they can win a cup don't need a top 6 scorer. Would you love to have another one? Yes, but you probably have your Nathan McKinnon already. You probably have your Austin Matthews already. That's why you're so good. So Bukestad, these teams a lot of times look for that plus player over what they have in a third line, a fourth line role. And I think that Bukestad going on to almost any roster becomes a plus player. In baseball, they call it wins above replacement, the WAR of a player. And I think that Bukestad is a guy that would have similar stats if he were to go in. And he's a plus player above what you're looking to replace in most lineups.
The amount of value that Nick Bukestad had to any Stanley Cup third line is incredible.
He'd be a guy I would love to have him. Absolutely love to have him. And he's a guy you don't feel too bad about Again, you're stockpiling a little bit of assets here because, again, if a team is making a trade for a guy in the third line, they're not giving up the farm. I'm sorry, you're not getting, 2 players and a pick here.
No.
You might get a prospect and a pick. Or, look, Robyn, every year, and I want to know who it's going to be this year because it happens every year, someone overpays.
Yeah.
Someone always makes that trade where you go, ooh, really? You gave up a first for that? Ooh. And we do that every year. I just wonder who it's going to be this year. I hope it's for Utah. I hope that whatever it is, Utah is the beneficiary of that, but it happens. So
I feel like Bill Armstrong knows his way through something like that.
And the other thing you have to keep in mind too is that if there's no shame in holding on to your assets if you feel good about them and you want that as part of your building blocks moving forward. But in the meantime, if you know a guy who is on an expiring contract or a shorter contract, and especially at 32, Bukestad is a guy, I mean, he may continue to come back. He may love it in Utah, and it may be saying, hey, look, if you, to Bill Armstrong, hey, if you trade me, I'm coming back again. I'm going to go somewhere
rid
else.
of me.
That's right. No, I'm like a bad penny. I keep turning up. And by the way, there will be no more pennies apparently. But he just keeps coming back. So number one, I think that's just great things about the organization. But number two, buyer beware. That's been the pattern. So that you're acquiring him. You're probably acquiring him for whatever your run is.
You're getting strictly a rental.
Yeah. And again, I think there's a lot of teams would love to have him. And the other thing is too, Robyn, when you're trading a guy on a 1 year or an expiring deal, I don't think it hurts you to trade him within the conference. How's that for food for thought? So Veggie, expiring contract. If you feel there's a chance he may come back, maybe you take that risk. And maybe with a Bukestad, you take that risk. You might ship Bukestad to Winnipeg. You know what I mean? And Winnipeg is a team that is going for it this year. Like they have Stanley Cups in their eyes. So they are hardcore going for it. And I could easily see him fitting in and making that roster better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just take a look at, and you talk, you already mentioned the teams he played for, but you take a look at after, in the 22-23 season when he got traded away as the, to the Edmonton Oilers and provided a good amount of value to that Oilers team that has been trying to make a Stanley Cup, like an incredible Stanley Cup, which they went as close as they could, at least this previous season, but that will be there eventually. So it really just tells you that these teams put so much value in a guy like him as a rental, which is huge. But it's like, hey, we don't need you fully, but we'd love to have you on a Stanley Cup push.
I would love to see a bidding war between Winnipeg and Edmonton for Nick Bukestad. That would make me very happy. I would appreciate that.
That would be funny.
Yes. All right. So that's our trade target for today. Nick Bukestad joins Karel Vejmelka and Lawson Krause on the list. Let us know what you think in the comments, and Robyn and I will respond on the next show before we unveil our 4th out of 5 trade targets. So time to talk about Team USA. And again, if you're catching this on Thursday, tonight's game is Team USA against Finland. It is the kickoff for both of those teams in the Four Nations. What are the odds that Team USA comes out victorious in this tournament? We're going to talk about it.
And today's episode is brought to you by Factor. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor makes eating well very easy with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. Something like Factor is absolutely essential for someone like me. I don't talk about it all the time, but including this podcast, I have 3 jobs. And sometimes I do not have time to make my own food. Sometimes I find myself going out way too much. factors out there to make that so much easier for me, because I'm actually able to focus on eating healthy again, focus on, eating as close as I could to a home cooked meal, and really, get that feeling again, rather than, having to again go out and, get takeout every day. Factor is going to make it easy for me to do that, because the convenience is unbeatable. There's no prep, no mess, just great food in minutes. Excuse me. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/locked-on50. Locked on NHL 50 off. Once again, that is use the code and use the code locked on NHL 50 off to get 50% off your first NHL box. Once again, that's locked on NHL 50 off at factormeals.com/locked on NHL 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Robyn, go ahead and take a second to reset yourself here. I know you hit a little bit of a dry spell there. Go ahead and get a sip of something.
I think I'm all set.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I care about my co-host. You know what? It's going to be interesting here with Four Nations coming up. We talk about how excited are people? Yes or no? Is it going to be competitive? Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be intense? I have a feeling whether or not the tournament itself turns out to be serious, turns out to be all-star game-ish, whenever USA and Canada meet, I think it's going to be intense. And Robyn, I know it starts with USA Finland, but there are so many good players on Team USA. Now, Team Canada's loaded too, don't get me wrong. But when I look at what Team USA has, and I mean, it starts in goal, and I think Team USA has the strongest goaltending in the whole tournament. They have Connor Hellebuyck, Jake Oettinger of the Dallas Stars, and Jeremy Swayman from the Bruins. And Swayman hasn't had his best season, but you may never see Swayman. You may never see Oettinger. Mm-hmm. I think Connor Hellebuyck can easily carry this team through the tournament, although I imagine Ottinger's going to get a game. But holy cow, that is an incredible Team USA in net.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like I think first of all, anyone who's anyone like if you are even just a casual hockey fan, you probably heard the name Connor Hellebuyck just because of how good of a goalie this dude is. He is incredible. Oettinger has had Stanley Cup runs. He has helped lead the Dallas Stars to some Stanley Cup, some deep Stanley Cup runs. And I think a lot of it does have to do with him, actually his level, not just how good the rest of the Stars are at the rosters he's been on, but because he's also that good. And of course, Jeremy Swayman, who's, also really proved his worth in the NHL in the last few years.
Yeah, I don't think you can lose with any of those guys, although I really do expect Connor Hellebuyck. If Hellebuyck doesn't win the Vezina this year, I'd be shocked. So he's the best goalie in the NHL, in my opinion. I think Oettinger is the best young goalie in the NHL, in my opinion. So
what's Hellebuyck's save percentage right now? Like a 9.25?
And you're gonna make me look this up, aren't you? Okay, fine. I'll go look it up. Let's see real quick. As I go to the goaltender stats page, it is a 9.25 and a 2.06 goals against average. Oh, and by the way, 6 shutouts.
Incredible.
What? 6 shutouts.
Incredible.
That's nuts. By the way, the only goalie who's close is Logan Thompson in Washington, who I told you was a stud. I told you, Vegas didn't listen to me. He's a stud. 921 in 31 games. Everybody else doesn't qualify. Stolarz is close. He's got 18 games. He has 929, but I think you have to get to 30 right now. But goaltending is awesome. Now let's look at the D pair, because you've got Norris Trophy nominations and winners, and you've got a team's leading scorer right now, which doesn't happen very often from the defense. But these are the projected D pairs for Team USA. Jacob Slavin, Adam Fox, Zach Werenski, Charlie McAvoy, and Noah Hannafin, Brock Faber. I don't think that hurts anybody's feelings. It's pretty good.
That's pretty good. You're getting a couple, just a handful of Norris Trophy caliber defensemen in just one roster here.
Yeah. Werenski's probably going to win it this year, especially if he keeps up the scoring, because for some reason we equate defensive scoring with defensive play. Although it's hard. It's hard for the other team to score on you when you're scoring on them, I guess. Right? That makes sense.
Best defense or best offense is what's the word? My brain's not.
Best defense is a good offense. Is
there
the way you want to phrase it. Yeah,
that's the word. That's the phrase I was looking for. I was like, which one? Which is the way I'm looking for in this one?
That was how Colorado won a Stanley Cup. The best defense is a good offense. The other team never had the puck. Colorado had them bottled up in the defensive zone the whole time. That's great defense because your goalie's taking a nap. That's why Philip Grubauer got overpaid.
And also, side note, why the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, but
I wouldn't know. The NFL actually did not play last weekend in my heart. So down the middle, Team USA. Listen to this. I have center envy. Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, JT Miller, Vinny Trocheck. And I'm a big Vinny Trocheck guy. And as a fourth line center, I approve. So that leaves you with a projected top line left to right of Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, and Matthew Tkachuk. That's pretty good. Second line, Gensel, Matthews, Jack Hughes. And then Brady Tkachuk, JT Miller, Matt Boldy, and then Nelson, Trocheck, and Dylan Larkin on the fourth line. Those are projected. Anything could happen, a little switch them up here and there, but Team USA is pretty darn stacked. I mean, Canada is too, but the difference is I think Team USA's goaltending is better, and to me, that kind of gives them the nod.
Yeah, no, 100%. If you got someone who's like, you have the hottest goalie in the league right now between the pipes, and to be representing your country in this upcoming tournament, I have no reason to really go any other way. Like, this Team USA team is going to be a hard team to beat. Just because, quite frankly, you can't score on them.
That really is. That's going to be the thing, isn't it? And everybody's hyping it up as Canada's offense against Team USA's goaltending is the key selling point of the tournament. I think that undersells Team USA's offense.
It does undersell Team USA offense because, again, all you got to do is just take a look at some of those again. Matthew Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, Jake. Like, you could take your pick on any of these players, and they are top line players on their respective teams.
I mean, Jack Hughes could take over the tournament.
Yeah.
Just as easily as Austin Matthews. And Gensel's not had the best year, but you put him on a line with Austin Matthews and Jack Hughes, he could look like Superman. I mean, talented players playing with other talented players. And that is what is the allure of this tournament, right? This is why we are going to watch.
That's why, this is the reason why, we've been like this was the quote agreement, right? That that got us to have NHL players going back to the Winter Olympics, come, next year, and hopefully, in the many years, upcoming is. Any year when there's not that, we're going to have this Four Nations tournament because we're going to still have some more international play. Because these players want to have the opportunity to represent their country for something that is at least a little bit more meaningful than the World Championship, especially again because as you've already mentioned earlier this week, Tom, it means a lot more to the European players than it does to the American players.
It does, and but. Again, USA Canada means a lot to both.
No matter what way you slice it, like in both, by the way, also in both men's and women's hockey, like there's a reason why the women's hockey team USA does a rivalry series with Team Canada. And by the way, I think a couple of months ago there was a Team USA versus Team Canada at the Maverick Center in West Valley City in Utah, by the way, which I think if you guys went to that, let me know how that was. Because those get the Team USA, Team Canada rivalries, whether it's men's or women's hockey, some of the most intense hockey you will ever watch.
Yes, the women especially. Like, I actually don't think the men hold a candle to how intense that women's rivalry is. So,
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, that's absolutely nuts. And it's a lot of fun to watch. And I'm glad I'm not out there. So, all right. Well, so those are my thoughts, Robyn. So I guess at the end of the day, we didn't really rate what we thought Finland's chance. I guess we did rate what we thought Finland's chances were yesterday.
We were like, eh.
Yeah, iffy. But Team USA, can they win? Can they win this tournament? Will they? Not can they. Of course they can. There's 4 teams. Any of the 4 can win. Will they win?
I think they have I think their chances are probably like, they are definitely very, very high. It will be a challenge to go against Canada, no matter what, right? Canada's always, it's Canada, Team Canada. But if there's a team that's going to beat Canada, it is going to be Team USA.
So what Robyn just told you is that, Robyn, let me know if I got this right. You're not a fan of pancakes, but you're more a fan of waffles, because I believe you're waffling there on your Team USA pick. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I think Team USA wins.
Okay.
I think they beat Canada. I think it happens. I think they are tournament champions when the dust settles.
I can
Getting on the bandwagon.
I can certainly see it.
Well, sure you can. Waffler.
Hey,
Robyn Waffler Leaño. I love it. It's okay. It's a good-natured razzing at the very least. So, but now I want waffles. Seriously. I don't know. I think it's going to be an entertaining tournament. I'm excited to watch it, especially because I think Finland Team USA holds a lot of value, and it's going to be fun. So, any further thoughts or anything else you want to toss out there, Robyn?
No, just once again, I hope you guys you've been enjoying these conversations. Once again, for our trade targets, let us know if there's any players you want us to touch on. Maybe we can get it as a bonus player. And B, let us know your thoughts on, whether you're going in and now at this point in the middle of watching the 4 Nations tournament, or you have other thoughts about about the tournament. Give us those comments, and we'll also share those on the show.
Yes, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how this goes the first couple of games, what the tone's going to be. So that'll be an awful lot of fun. You can reach out to us on social media, and Robyn, the show itself is on pretty much every platform.
You can find us absolutely everywhere to listen to the show, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube Music, on Amazon Music, wherever, Sirius XM, if you are a subscriber over there. But on social media, you can find us at LO_NHL Utah on most of our platforms. If you are on Blue Sky or TikTok, you can go ahead and follow us at Locked On Utah Hockey. I am personally at Robyn_Leaño on X. On Blue Sky, I'm at Robyn Nice Time.
And I am spending 99% of my time on Blue Sky at Tom Talks. So please reach out to me there. I still have a presence on X at Callahan on Air, just not over there a whole heck of a lot. So Blue Sky is a place to catch me. And this is the place to catch the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast, as Robyn mentioned, available anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. And coming soon, Robyn, we're going to have an announcement. We're going to be available on a new platform. I don't know if we can let that cat out of the bag yet, but little teaser there for you.
Yeah, little teaser. Something is coming your way.
Yes, so keep it posted for that one as well. All right, for Robyn, I am Tom. We thank you for listening, and thank you for subscribing and being a part of it. We love bringing you every single day the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.